Hello everyone, Ken and Loey here with Vega Conflict's new Alien Mobilization briefing here. They are making multiple changes to the Alien Mobilization format and making it so that instead of just an event to get boxes from the alien targets, they're making it so that they have a leaderboard in there as well, similar to the Civil War, as they use the Civil War intel as their leaderboard currency. Now, the main changes that I would say that they made was to the different fleets and their payouts. There isn't going to be that one type of fleet that's going to be 500,000 points or bases that are be 1 million in this one. The highest fleet that we can fight is the Unknown Barrage Hive level 75, which gives 190,000 intel for the store and 122,000 for the leaderboard here. Now, what is interesting about this leaderboard is that they give out actually decent prizes. Usually for the Civil War, they give out stuff like boosted pulse rays, which hopefully no one uses. And as we can see here, with the personal leaderboard, they have elite credits, which are only usable with Mark V ships, and then Mark V boxes that you would get from if you defeated a target that would drop a Mark V box. You get one of those. It does not guarantee a pattern like those. But what is interesting as well is that they're finally bringing back Punisher stuff, which I am actually very surprised about, because honestly, as a player of Vega Conflict for over 2 years, I honestly am quite surprised that they didn't just never give out Punisher stuff again. However, they do come at a decently high cost if you are one of those lower level players trying to get points in this event, as we can see in the point layout that they give out here. And the lowest fleet gives 750. If you're fighting the 27s, I don't think you could probably get anything from the store at all. Even if you're fighting the 40s that give 3,500, it's going to be pretty hard unless you can auto them with very little repair. And then here for the alien stuff, they did something that kind of it annoys me, at least, that they made it so that the alien reapers only go to level 50, and that gives only 8,000 points, which makes it very difficult to get any of the maybe Mark 3 or higher boxes are going to be really hard to get if you're only getting that box. If you're only getting that intel to buy the boxes down here that we'll get to in a moment. And then after that, it's all Unknown Barrage Hive. So if you're going to fight anything that gives decent intel amount, which you probably need to fight the 60s to get at least 30,000 to get anything really decent that you'd want to use. But at least from level 55 and onwards, you at least get these crafting boxes here for the Mark II. For the 55, you get the Decimator Mark II. Then the Unknown Barrage Hive 60, you get the Punisher Mark II box, which I'm pretty sure that there are going to be a lot of people fighting for the Punisher stuff. I can just imagine it now, that everyone will be either fighting the 60s, 65, 70, and 75s, all for that Punisher stuff, because it was released. I'm pretty sure they only released the Mark IV and Mark V boxes for the Punisher in only one event, and of course one event is not really enough to get any decent amount of stuff to make multiple Mark V credits, unless you coin your repairs or something, which then if you have the money to coin your repairs like that and get enough stuff from the boxes, you might as well just buy the Mark feature stuff from the black market that they had for 2,500 coins there. So all the non-coiners can spam these now. So what I would really recommend going for if you want a decent amount of intel is the level 70 barrage hive. It goes from 75,000 to 120,000. That is almost double from going from 68 to 70. So fight the level 7. Well, honestly, just go for anything that has Punisher stuff first of all. But for point, I'm just looking at the point values. There's the level 60 gives 30,000, which is over double of the 55. So if you can get at least 60 reliably doing those barrage hives, you can at least get a pretty good stockpile of points there. And then the next one up is the 120,000 and the 75,000 the level 75 and level 70, excuse me, for those points. And then off to the side is the leaderboard points, which can't, well, you would probably gonna have to get a lot of that to even get good stuff from the leaderboard. Here is all of the prizes in the event store. We have the suppressor specialist ship again, full blueprint. Thankfully all these are full blueprints. Exterminator destroyer, annihilator battleship, decimator cutter, and Punisher cruiser, like we've had for most of these events here. And then here is the main thing here. Besides killing the fleets themselves for these boxes, you can buy the boxes themselves out of the store with the intel that you got with this normal intel stuff. And the crafting boxes are actually priced, I believe, at a pretty reasonable amount. You have 75,000 for a Mark II box. They could have maybe lowered the Mark II one at least a little bit, because Mark II is honestly not really that hard to get as long as you can kill a few fleets, because the patterns actually drop on those. And then you have the Mark III box at 125,000, 250,000 at Mark IV, and then 500,000 at Mark V. So all of the Punisher stuff, like I've said before, they haven't really been able, well, I shouldn't say able, but they haven't allowed us to farm for the Punisher cruiser stuff. So aim for those if you can. And then the limited amount that you can buy is that you can buy only 4 Mark V boxes, 5 Mark IV, 6 Mark III, and 8 Mark II. And then you have Demon Corp stuff, which, honestly, if you're able to kill these fleets, you probably have a Xeno hull by now. So Demon Corp really isn't... It's at least better than the Iron Star Company, but it's not really that important, I don't think, unless you don't have any of these hulls. But if you don't have any of those hulls, the pattern box costs 400,000. I would just say save the points and just get the full blueprint if you're even considering the pattern boxes. There's the parts boxes. Those are decent at 100,000. They're not super expensive, so if you need any of those, I would say maybe go for that. But otherwise, the pattern boxes are still kind of a bit expensive for compared to what you can get with those points. And then there's the Iron Star Company boxes and stuff like that. Xeno is pretty much, I would say, a major step up from Iron Star Company. So if you have any Xeno stuff, just don't even bother with Iron Star Company. Tier 5 boxes for anything Iron Star Company or Demon Corp if you want any of those. The gold and silver boxes I usually don't even bother with on my account personally, because all of these infernal weapons take forever to refit, and then you might as well just be refitting a Xeno hull anyway. Vigilante, Heretic, and Freja. I would say only the Freja is probably even worth considering out of these, because the Vigilante, well, it's just, the Vigilante is basically an armored Venom, so I don't I didn't really care for that hull to begin with. The Heretic, well, if you have the Punisher, a Mark 1 Punisher is going to be better than probably a Mark 5 Heretic, and it's going to get less repair. So if you have that, even if you get the hull, well, you're going to have to suffer through that increased repair time from the old equipment. Silver boxes, boosted pulse ray, frenzied hex, frenzied scatter, not really worth using for the most part, in my opinion. Zeal battleship, Corinthian cruiser, and Valkyrie. The Valkyrie is probably then, just like the Freja, is probably the only thing worth getting, because like I said before, the Xeno is probably going to be better than a Mark 5 Corinthian in this case, and then an Annihilator even has one more gun than the Zeal battleship, and it actually has a decent base HP, and also the base HP probably outranks a Vigilante for the most part anyway. Why I say the carriers are maybe worth getting is because they have their unique support field. So if you don't want to use a Dominion for an agility support field for some reason, you can get the increased shield bypass or increased shield damage. And then standard resources that we've had in pretty much every event since they were introduced. And here is the leaderboard stuff. So all of your Civil War intel, they want to call it, this is what you can earn if you get high enough in the leaderboard. In first place, which means if you're the biggest farmer / coiner of them all, you get Punisher, Decimator, Mark 6 credits times 3 for each of them, and then Mark 5 boxes times 6. It's very tempting to get, but I know that I'm not going to get number 1 on that, so I'm not even going to worry about that. Okay, at place 2, you're pretty much getting the same thing as the first place, except less of them. You get times 2 for the Mark 6 credits and 4 boxes. Third place, same thing, 2 on each of the boxes, and then 1 Mark 6 credit for each of those. And then if you are 4th place through 10th place, which I'm probably still not going to get that, Decimator Mark 5 boxes times 3, 11 through 30, Decimator Mark 5 times 2, and 31 through 80, Decimator Mark 5 times 1. And then the rest of them are just core boxes. Alliance, you can get Xeno Division armaments and Demon Corp armaments if you score in the top 5 alliances. For some reason that just doesn't really seem right because of how many alliances there are. You'd think it would at least go to 10, but I don't know what Kickside does these days. So the sector leaderboard, Demon Corp armaments and Iron Star Company armaments, pretty easy to farm those with Xenotech, so not really that exciting. So that's pretty much everything. Hopefully I covered everything that's mostly new in this event. It's mainly that you pretty much need to fight a Barrage Hive to get anything, which the Barrage Hive is probably my least favorite out of all of them, besides maybe the bases. The bases are pretty hard to take down without huge amounts of repair if you're doing the higher level ones. And the Barrage Hives, they're just really hard if you don't have cutters. I mean, Punishers work, but they're definitely slower. So I think that's everything, but I will read this CM note. It says, "This will be the last event in which enemy targets aren't absolutely flooded with squadrons and swarms." Sounds awesome, doesn't it? This combined with the Axis carrier, calling the new stuff Axis, released in July, makes anti-squadron builds extremely important. With that in mind, I strongly advise building some suppressors and upgrading them when you are able, even though that we don't actually have the Mark research yet. So okay then. At Mark 5, suppressors do 150% damage the squadrons and have 50% minus to weapon mass and an additional weapon slot and the standard 50% alien resist. Having some of these in your fleet are going to provide major benefits, and not having them will likely lead to significant repairs. Well, the main problem that I have with this statement is the whole squadron thing is that they're basically saying right here that they're forcing us to use a hull that's, and in my personal opinion, I don't really find the suppressor that great, and it's mostly because of the mass. It's mainly the mass and the HP. The base HP of the ship isn't really that great either. At Mark 1, the suppressor doesn't even have 10,000. It doesn't even have 10,000 mass, and at Mark 5, that means it might get 12,000 at the very most of mass, or probably not even 12,000. So if you're gonna put one of these in your fleets, it's gonna have less mass than a cutter can, unless they give each mark upgrade like 10% more mass or something instead of 5%. Then maybe it'll get enough mass to be worth using. But the point that I'm making here is that if you can kill the squadrons pretty effectively with pretty much anything, the suppressor would just be kind of a waste of mass, because it doesn't get the benefits of the armor reduction and the Xeno disintegrator cannons that the Punisher has, and it doesn't get the firepower of an Annihilator battleship, for an example, and it doesn't get the longer range of the extreme range of the Exterminators. So since it doesn't, if you can kill the squadrons without using a suppressor, I would say do it, because a suppressor, I just don't really feel like it's going to be that useful unless they make the squadrons that insane, which they can. I mean, they could make the squadrons have like 30,000 HP for each one for some reason, if they really wanted to, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see on that one. So I think that's pretty much everything. Now, I just wanted to point out that this one right here, this post by Angel of Verdun, if I said that correctly, he pretty much is right, and I recommend looking over the forums if any of you haven't, and anyone who's watching this video probably hasn't, considering that all I did was primarily look at what the post said. He was basically saying that now Alien Mobilization, you're just fighting barrage hives, which that is actually completely true. If you looked at the intel amounts, is that the intel amounts are complete and utter garbage for what they are until you get to the barrage hives. You can't really purchase any boxes unless you're either doing the very highest Reaper and you can just spam them with auto instant repair or something. Then maybe you can get some decent boxes, but otherwise you are forced to play and fight the barrage hives to get anything. And I guess all of us are gonna have to withstand that, but it's definitely not something that I enjoy, killing barrage hives all of the time. I mean I liked killing the Reapers some of the times with the Punishers, with the Xeno disintegrator cannon. It just felt like you were actually sort of in control of how much damage you take with the focusing fire, which either going for the energy or the alien beam Reapers, like, kind of felt like I could sort of control how much damage I took. I mean, obviously take about the same damage either way, but the barrage hives just are completely different. So I think that is everything, and hopefully this was helpful to anyone, or enjoyed my my thoughts on the subject of this new alien mobilization stuff. So, and also here's the picture of what killing a fleet will look like, and ironically enough, the point values that they put in the photo are not actually on any of the fleets that they made for some reason. Maybe they reduced the 55s to 12,000 and 9,300 instead of this one. That would be kind of ironic, wouldn't it? Anyways, I'm gonna sign off here and have a wonderful day.